They just can't stand the fact that Spotify is going to stand with Joe Rogan. How many fake doctors, surgeon generals, and old musicians are going to have to throw at this guy? For Zangalang and salutations, my lovely little lunatics. It's me, your friendly and psychopath Insanity, here with my co-host Bob.
Hello.
And today, on the Insane Report, we're dealing with the whole Joe Rogan CCP-19 misinformation with Spotify and seeing how it's been going. But anywho, before we do that, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button for more insane news. Also follow us on Locals,
Rumble,
Bastion,
Minds,
Getter,
and Gab. Dear Lord, the list is getting longer.
Yeah, this is what you gotta do, because after all, new stuff's going on with YouTube.
What exactly?
See, people who don't have enough, if a channel just blows up, or if it's some big thing that blows up so quickly, YouTube goes, oh, this is a pretty popular video, but this channel hasn't been around long enough, or doesn't have enough people, so we don't want to show it to you.
They're seriously doing that?
Yep, there's seriously a video unavailable with that on it. I just watched it from the quartering.
God, this is so stupid.
It is, but not as stupid as what's been going on with Joe Rogan. He had the guy on who basically helped invent the mRNA, and then the other guy who talked about mass something psychosis.
Oh yeah, when everyone loses their mind over something that no one can really prove.
Exactly. And also he talked about the simple fact that, months ago, if you came out and said the virus came from Wuhan, banned. If you said the vaccine could completely stop you from getting and passing CCP-19, banned. Or if you talked about how the blue masks were literally, they're not as effective as M95, banned. Also, YouTube, don't come after me, because once again, this is all stuff that you now have approved by the CDC and the WHO. So anyways, we're just going to jump right into it first with what's going on now. From CNET. Joe Rogan CCP misinformation. Spotify won't censor him, says the CEO. And I bet they wouldn't, because they offered him Get rid of you. They gave him a $100 million contract. And if they want to kick him out now, he can probably either sue them or get the money himself.
Yeah, don't really want to deal with that.
No, they don't. So continue on. CEO Daniel Ek reacts to Neil Young, Joe Rogan, CCP-19 blow up. There are other people as well, and the blowback from doctors, quote unquote, and scientists, quote unquote. Rogan has something to say about it too. Spotify CEO Daniel Ek spoke publicly on Sunday about the controversies that blowing up over Rogan's podcast and CCP-19 vaccine misinformation, quote unquote, sparked by an ultimatum from famed rocker Neil Young. I'm in my 30s, still never heard of him.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why no one really cares.
No. X said in a blog post that doctors, scientists, and Spotify subscribers have raised questions about the company's policies and the lines we have drawn between what is acceptable and what is not. He acknowledged that Spotify hasn't been transparent about its policies regarding the contents of its hosts. They really don't need to. It's become clear to me that we have an obligation to do more to provide balance and access to widely accepted information from the medical and scientific communities that may or may not be wrong at this point in time. Give it 6 months, we'll find out. Communities guiding us through this unprecedented time of mass censorship and overall authoritarianism. But we're going to just continue on over to what Rogan said from the Daily Mail. Podcast Joe Rogan vows to balance things out after music legends flee Spotify. Streaming giant's boss bows to pressure and says CCP-19 podcast will now come with warnings.
God, this is so stupid.
It really is. It's like, the worst part is they act like, well, in all honesty, nowadays a lot of adults are just like giant children.
Oh yeah.
Continuing on, Joe Rogan posted a 10-minute video to Instagram addressing controversy surrounding his Spotify hosted show, The Joe Rogan Experience. Rogan promised to balance things out with a more varied range of guests, but once again, this is such a big thing, and people come to listen to him, so why? It's one of the stupid things. But stressed that he is simply interested in finding out what the truth is, and I'm sorry, Joe, but the government and tech don't want that. Also, Big Pharma. Spotify, meanwhile, will add content advisories to episodes related to CCP-19. The announcement came shortly after it was revealed that the Sussex said they have reached out to online music streaming services with concerns. Also, BlackRock did.
Wait a minute, BlackRock did?
Yeah, BlackRock owns, I think, like 1.3% or something in that range, but at the same time, it's $600 million in Spotify, and it's BlackRock, and we know BlackRock touches everything.
That's really scary.
It really is. Harry and Meghan said they were committed to continuing our work together. No one cares. It comes after Neil Young removed his music from the platform and accused the streaming giant of spreading CCP-19 misinformation. Shut the hell up. No one cares, you aging dinosaur. Spotify shares tumbled 12%, losing $2 billion in market share values following Young's announcement. Once again, I'm not going to care too much, but here we go on to the original thing that they tried to get Joe Rogan with.
Doctors and scientists slam Joe Rogan's misleading and false CCP-19 claims, call for Spotify to take action. Almost 300 quote-unquote scientists and medical professionals are calling for Spotify to take action against CCP-19 misinformation spread on podcasts such as The Joe Rogan Experience. A new open letter to Spotify signed by 270 experts, quote-unquote, including medical professionals and scientists, accused Joe Rogan, who hosts the platform's most popular podcast, which has over 11 million views per podcast, which completely beats out pretty much all the left-leaning things.
Yep.
The most popular podcast, of having a concerning history of broadcasting misinformation, particularly regarding the CCP-19 pandemic. The letter urges Spotify to take action via a clear misinformation policy.
So it's all bull. It's once again, give it 6 months. So much stuff has changed. But let's go look at that open letter. Let's look at some of the people. You, medical resident. You, physician. You, nurse practitioner. You, host science correspondent. A podcaster. Nurse practitioner. Physician. Something, don't really know. Assistant professor of emergency medicine. Immunologist, microbiologist. Okay, you maybe. Assistant professor at Federal University of Santa. So, no, I don't care about you. Medical facility, okay, you have an MD. Nurse practitioner, chief resident, MD, okay. Assistant professor of pediatrics, don't care what you have to say. Associate medical writer, don't care what you have to say. Science correspondent, unbiased science podcast, another podcaster. Clinical microbiology student, you're a student. Research fellow, science communicator, so I don't, okay. Once again, it's just like clinical facility. Licensed clinical social worker, chief science officer, associate professor, interventor cardiologist, immunologist, assistant professor, attending physician, podiastical fellow, psychologist, don't care what you have to say, postdoctoral fellow, clinical neurologist, clinical research coordinator, editor, unbiased science podcast, my butt. Professor, PhD candidate, registered nurse, family nurse practitioner, associate veterinarian. This is what I find funny. A veterinarian. Yes, we should care what the veterinarian has to say. A dentist. Yes, let's care what this person has to say. A professor. No one cares. Adult germanology. Primary care nurse practitioner. Epidemiologist. I actually care what you would say. Analytical scientist. A consultant. Emergency medicine physician. Staff specialist. Eastern Michigan University, so I don't even know what you are. Yeah, it's all this. It's all 270 doctors and scientists and associates, and a good portion of these people don't actually have anything to do with anything, but listen to them because they have PhD in their name. Continuing on, because now the government went after him.
Oh, yeah, I remember this. Biden's Surgeon General suggests Joe Rogan podcast should be censored. Big tech has an important role to play. Oh, yes, as if they haven't already been doing things like that and gotten so many people fired. Oh, yeah, remember the one video we did?
Oh, yes, and then they had to come out and say it was okay because all we did was read stuff that the WHO and CDC had put out. This is the kind of stuff we're dealing with. Once again, misinformation and curating accurate information. But accurate how? Accurate as in what the information you want people to hear? What do you think are the best ways to push back on misinformation about CCP-19 that continue to be aggressively pushed, whether it be by Joe Rogan's podcast or all over Facebook? We have the best science available, which has been constantly wrong. We can have the best public health expertise available, which they've been somewhat wrong. It won't help people if they don't have access to accurate information. Yes, so allow us to get accurate information. There's still that whole thing of all the Pfizer stuff that no one seems to have. There's the stuff that's going on in Cuba, where apparently it's not an mRNA vaccine, but it actually works 90%, and that's why a lot of people are getting it. God. Which, once again, we're just going to continue on. Now they're going after not just Joe Rogan, but other people like from Substack, where you can go and sign up for specific people with letters and watch their new stuff. But Chelsea Clinton, so there's that. Anti-vax grift going strong. Why is Substack facilitating science denialists' ability to profit from destructive lies and comfortable profiting themselves? Anti-vaxxers make at least $2.5 million a year from publishing on Substack. Oh, God, no. We don't want to listen to CNN, which is why they're failing. And MSNBC, which is why they're failing. And ABC, which is why they're failing. I want to get my news specifically from people that I actually trust, which is the kind of thing like to Tim Pool. Continuing on, let's hear what Harry and Meghan, those dimwits, had to say. Harry and Meghan put pressure on Spotify over Joe Rogan's CCP19 podcast, but won't hand back their $18 million from the streaming service. Oh, no. Virtue signal. Hey, why don't you get back the money? My virtue signaling doesn't go that far.
Of course it doesn't. Harry and Meghan expressed concern about CCP19 misinformation, but they said they were committed they were continuing to deal with Spotify. They want to ensure changes to its platform are made to help address the public health crisis. Nah, they just want money because they got kicked out.
Oh yeah, they got spit on hard by the royal family.
Had faced pressure to walk away from the deal after Joni Mitchell and Neil Young demanded their songs be removed from Spotify, which, yeah, Bruce Springsteen, Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, we don't have any idea who these people are. We don't care.
No, we don't. So, that's basically the overview of the whole thing. They couldn't shame him off. They couldn't get a bunch of people that probably, a lot of them really don't have much to say on the actual merits of this stuff to get him off out of like scare, like, oh my God, look at all these people. They eventually, I think we're even going to go like 1,000, but like 1,000 quote unquote doctors and scientists. But that just straight up wasn't going to work because normal people don't care. We do not care what you, CNN, Harry and Meghan have to say, Chelsea Clinton, anyone from the Biden administration on this topic. We don't care. The reason why Joe Rogan gets 11 million people per podcast, more than all the leftist mainstream media combined, is simple. He's a normal guy who's humble and honestly facts check people on his show. He wants to know the truth. Normal people want to know the truth. And we're so tired of being told, you don't need to know this, you're too stupid to know this, you don't deserve to know this. Listen to what we say and do as we tell you.
It really is kind of funny.
It really is. But hopefully this will continue on. Once again, Spotify paid him a ton of money, and I can tell you right now, if they kicked him off, I'm betting you there would be he could either make his own stuff, he could go to Rumble, and I'm betting they would pay a pretty penny for that, because that would skyrocket Rumble through all. I bet that would be the one thing that just immediately puts them close, like halfway close to YouTube, because once again, YouTube is becoming a cesspool of censorship. But anywho, that'll be the end of this little video. If you like this video, then check the like button and subscribe to more.
Insanity.
And I will see you all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.